Hello, I think, we sent this out at 6 o'clock. So it's good evening to everyone, although it's still light outside. It's a bit closer to 3 o'clock when we are recording this. No, we're not, messing with time and space, only with people who want to take your freedom away from you. But enough silliness from me. Welcome to Taking the Stand, fans podcast that brings the law to the people, hopefully, and try to make the law about freedom and about justice, and that these two things serve each other very importantly. You can find us every Thursday evening at 6 o'clock when we delve deeper into the activities of the Fan Justice Project. With me is Ben, someone you know from our previous episodes, who is one of the drivers of the project, the Freedom Fan Justice Project. Ben, thank you very much for joining me. And this time I'm trying to get better at this hosting thing. So, be merciful.
How's it, Hermann? How's it everyone at home?
Excellent. Right. So let us dive in immediately. We have one brief report back thing to do, and then we have a topic to delve into a bit in terms of education and employment. The first bit of news is that the majority of the parties in the legal matter between Post Office and PostNet regarding the delivering of packages under 1 kilogram per package or whatever, we have been accepted or we've been granted permission to join as an amicus, a friend of the court. Now, the next process is to officially file our submissions and get the actual show on the road, but this makes it easier because we don't have, the parties involved have said we can join with the arguments that we want to make about freedom. Briefly, a friend of the court, I think we touched on it last week. It's simply about advising the court, broadening its scope of consideration, looking at perhaps arguments not presented by the parties involved, not explicitly for one side or the other, just advising the court, bringing some new information. In terms of that case, Ben, why should we bother with it at all?
Well, first of all, I think it's great news that we've been admitted as amicus. But yeah, just on your question, we just really want to make the point that the state shouldn't be able to use their influence in such a way that sort of influences the market, and so they're able to direct whether we advocate for free markets here, and we see this as the state using their influence to sort of regulate the market far too much.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the post office is a state-owned entity, and it's founded on legislation, so it has this close relationship with the state. It's supposed to be a commercial entity that does things in a cost-effective way and a beneficial way to the people of South Africa. But now we have this situation where this SOE is trying to rig the game in its favor, especially on areas where it's not performing. Now, I think that's quite toxic. So we have to take a stand against the state using its power for its own commercial interests, let's be honest. But it's also worth sticking up for the little guy. If you are an entrepreneur, and you might be one of the 3 in 4 unemployed people between the ages of 15 and 24 in South Africa, and you want to start a business, possibly transporting a few things. As we said last time, you've got perhaps a driver's license, perhaps a Vespa, perhaps a motorbike, a car, and you want to get into the business of, how about delivering some simple stuff in your community, earning some income, building a business. Essentially what the post office is saying, they'd rather have the monopoly on packages under the weight of 1 kilogram, rather than have these entrepreneurial opportunities for people to actually participate in the market. And I must say, our aim there is to use this as a platform for the voice of people who will benefit from freedom, from economic freedom, and from free markets. As we go on, we will keep you updated. And Ben, a last word on you from you on this topic.
Yes, I think I was just going to add that also competition, fighting for people to be able to compete so that the consumers their best prices. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's all from me
From my side, you broke up a bit, but I think I got the gist. And in case you broke up a bit, also for our listeners, the point is that this is not just about helping one side of the equation. It's about helping people who want to deliver a service, but also people who want to, buy that service. And Ben, as you correctly point out, the more people you have competing for the patronage, the business, the support of the ordinary South African, it's this downward pressure. You can't charge too much because it'll make you unaffordable for the market and the people. So we're going to use this platform as much as possible in the court of law to make the case for freedom. And this is hopefully just the first of many. We are a young organization, but we are growing nicely. Talking about things growing nicely, I think we can always fall back on government power growing nicely, but the issue that we actually delve deeper into today is not necessarily a new thing. It's an existing power or an existing state of affairs that we think, compromises freedom, especially for teachers working for state schools run by the Department of Basic Education. Ben, give us a quick view over as to what this ramble is about.
Yeah, so about a month or two ago, we found the regulations published by the Department of Basic Education, and we stumbled across a provision which had actually been there for a while, which basically says that it lists a few grounds of which teachers can get suspended. And one of those grounds is if you do not seek consent from the department for having a second income. So if you're a teacher and you want to provide extra lessons on a Saturday, or, even sell something at a flea market or something like that, and that counts as income, you'd have to get permission from the department to do that, which we think is it's over-regulatory on freedom of sort of freedom to choose your income, freedom to choose your lifestyle, a whole lot of freedom arguments that we can make there, and that we think is very problematic.
Yeah, and it's almost the wrong way around. And we're not saying that something like non-competition clauses are terrible, because sometimes it is fair. If you're going to start a business or if you're going to work for a business and in your contract it stipulates that you can't resign and then within a 6-month period or something start up a similar business, that's fair. That's sort of non-competition. Yes, that restraint of trade, avoidance of unfair competition in contractual relationships, that's good and that's fine. But this isn't it. This is someone already doing something that many people would likely consider public service, educating young kids. And if you're then trying to make a living beyond that, I think it's absurd that you need to ask permission. I can understand there might be circumstances where, okay, cool, you can't do certain jobs. I mean, you can't actively undermine your school or your employer. I mean, there are reasonable things that one shouldn't be allowed to do. But surely that should be the exception, approached from if this happens, then there's negative consequences, not out of the gate. You need permission. You need to ask Big Mama Angie at the Department of Education, Basic Education, whether you can sell Cook Sisters, or perhaps give extra mathematics lessons. It's the wrong way around. It's not freedom, is it?
No. Yeah, you're quite right about that. And yeah, it's yet again another overregulation, another impediment on freedom, and something worth sticking up for.
And the legal action that we are taking is we have corresponded with the department saying, you're in the process of amending, adjusting, changing these regulations. Why not look at this thing that's been in existence for a while, but that really is quite unnecessary? And we hope to have a positive engagement with them. Perhaps they give us good reasons as to why they put it in there, why they need it in there. But it's part of the whole thing that never just assume justice or freedom is going to happen. There's work to be done. There's input to be given, and insights to be gotten, in the sense that these things, if we're not going to engage, these really bizarre infringements on freedom, not something massive, but minor niggles, will chip away at freedom up to a point where it becomes uncomfortable. And Ben, do you think it's fair to see sort of a bit of a connection between this action and the post office action, that they're both weirdly about locking down opportunities rather than letting people enjoy them?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good analysis of it, and it's why we've sort of cottoned on to both of these cases. We are really at this point in our economy, we really want to keep it growing and advance opportunities for people, and the best thing to do that are good policies from the government, and these aren't good policies from the government.
Yeah, and perhaps as a parting shot, I've often said that in South Africa, in many countries across the world, problems arise from things that government needs to start doing. In South Africa, problems arise often from things government need to stop doing. Stop making it more difficult for people to earn an income. It makes no sense. I think it's we'll find out. Perhaps they will come back and give some good reasons, but I must say, to me, it seems a bit petty and a bit controlling. Well, I think I'm going to try and keep it short this time. We said we'd aim for 10 minutes. We're at 13 and a half. To me, that's a win. For me personally, if I can land this baby under 15 minutes, I'll take it, because people might realize that brevity isn't always my strong point. I studied law, after all. We can't write sentences that do not at some point resemble paragraphs. But everyone, thank you very, very much for joining us for this episode of Taking the Stand. Stick with us as we roll out these legal actions. It's going to be a bit of a snowballing effect. We're starting small, but we're not aiming small. Keep an eye out for what we do. We'll keep you updated. Like this episode, subscribe to Fan's channel, go over to the website, see the great content there on our other podcasts, Burning Questions, Freedom Fanatics. Watch our excellent explainer videos, really trying to get the message out there that, well, your freedom is worth fighting for. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Cheers.